Work session meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. Councilwoman Larson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll give the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear, kind Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the many blessings that we receive from Thee. We're grateful for this wonderful nation that we live in and for the opportunities to live in Wyoming. We're grateful for the weather and the moisture that Thou hast sent, that we might be able to raise our crops and be able to have something to drink. We appreciate the moisture and an opportunity to live where we do. We're grateful for the city of Riverton, and we ask Thee to bless it, that we might make wise choices for them, that the citizens will be in tune to the things that You would have them do, and that we might be kind and friendly and loving to the people around us, that we might be a gracious city and amplify the things that Thou would have us do. We're grateful for our police, and we ask Thee to watch over them. It's a very difficult time for police, and we ask Thee to be with all of the police through the United States, and especially those that serve here in the city of Riverton. We're grateful for our armed services and members, and we ask Thee to bless them, that they might be kept safe from harm and accident. Once again, we ask for Thy Spirit to be with us, that we might be able to make wise decisions and to do the things that Thou would have us do and be helpful to the citizens of the city of Riverton. We ask for these many favors and blessings, and we do it in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Would the city clerk please conduct roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilwoman Lindsay Cox.
Here.
Councilman Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilman Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilwoman Christy Salisbury.
Here.
Mayor Richard Gard.
Here. The chair would entertain a motion to excuse Councilwoman Borders.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is Councilman Larson, and second is Councilwoman Salisbury. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. I declare a quorum is present. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Cox has a motion. Councilman Bailey has a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Community service contracts and service presentations, financial director's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. For well over a decade, the City of Riverton has provided contracts for community service funding for several organizations serving the public in a variety of capacities. The entities are generally volunteer or nonprofit, each relying on different funding streams, which could include governmental funding, grants, donation, foundation, and individual fundraising activities. The city allocates direct distribution funding, also known as supplemental funding, to provide support to these organizations. Direct distribution funding originates from over-the-cap mineral revenues that flow through the state general fund. The city uses the money for one-time capital purchases and projects, as well as to fund the community service contracts. This year, the application period was open from February 6th through April 1st. The city staff mailed letters to its existing community organizations on February 16th to advise them of the application period. To allow other organizations the opportunity to apply, the staff provided notice to the public through various media outlets, including the city website, the Riverton Ranger, and WYO Today. This year, the city staff received funding requests of $276,285 from 11 organizations. Tonight's meeting provides the opportunity for the organizations to make a virtual appearance to introduce themselves and provide a brief video presentation on how the funding would benefit their organization. As we enter into the budget planning process for fiscal year 21-22, the city staff will seek direction from the council for recommendation and approval of the financial allocations for these organizations. The applicants were informed that should any questions arise resulting from tonight's presentation, that they will be provided an opportunity to answer said questions and be allowed to respond. And with that, I'll turn it over.
Thank you. With the new changes, you guys have looks like we can run 220 through that cord you got, so I'd be real careful.
I'm a little afraid to touch it right now,
Since we
so
passed the new electrical code, it might have a little bit more juice than usual. We're going to turn it over to Tony.
yes, Your Honor.
Thanks, Tony.
Your Honor, just to add on to what Ms. Harris talked about recently, the process that you have before you is obviously been going on for a little bit. What you have in front of you right now is, in the past, we had different groups present at different times as well. Not knowing what we were getting into previously when we originally planned this, we went to a more digital approach. In the future years, it may be different. You've been provided a spreadsheet that has all of your names across the top and all of the those asking for funding this year. And the packet that you've been provided has all of their requests, as well as the histories that are associated with those that we wanted you to have, so you kind of see what has been granted in previous years. What we would do is present this evening at any time during the presentation or after any of the presentations, or at the end, whenever you feel comfortable. If there are any questions, those can be asked of staff or anybody that's in the audience at your leisure. And if we can't answer those, which chances are we won't be able to speak on behalf of those particular agencies, we will write those down, we will provide those to the agencies, and then we will send the information back to you. You're not voting on anything tonight. You're not scheduled to vote on anything tonight. And this is part of our budget process, that then we can bring something forward and give recommendations and explain why our recommendations exist the way they do. My suggestion will be that we have items returned, any questions returned to us within, I don't know, 4 or 5 days of this meeting, if there are any that you see. And that gives us a few days to talk with them, and then we'll provide those answers back to council, because we have a few weeks before we need these numbers back. It's not in the next week. That way council can then turn in the sheets that you've been provided to staff. You can give those to me. We'll put those into the spreadsheet and make sure that, and then provide a recommendation based on that. This is one of those parts of the budgeting process that directly affects multiple parts of our community. Therefore, we spend a little bit more time on this. A lot of people will look at it and say, well, $276,000 or $200,000 or $240,000 compared to the total budget isn't, you know, the largest thing, but it's still significant, and it does provide a lot of services that the public tends to work with. So we do take a little extra time with that. With that, Your Honor, if it's okay with you, I'll start the presentation. Feel free to ask me to stop at any time. I'll pause shortly after each presentation to see if there's any questions that you would like posed to either staff or somebody else.
Tony, it appears that Eagles Hope is in the room. So are we going to see their video, or are we going to have live presentation from them?
Your Honor, they have provided a presentation, but they can augment that if they want to. It's important to note that the different organizations were told that they were not required to be here in order to be funded. However, they were, of course, invited and could be here, and obviously Eagles Hope did.
And since they're not here, we can give it all to Eagles Hope, and we can be done, right? Good trick. We'll have to do that next year too.
All right. Before we get started, I would like to thank IT for the setup that you have in front of you, that you're able to see, and that works in concert with the screen up there. This is the first time this is going on. So again, if I get electrocuted, the chief has a radio, and secondly, I'm AB negative. So
Does Kyle know the mule kick? How to get somebody off of electrical cord?
I don't. I'm woefully unprepared.
Oh, no. Okay.
I would recommend just shocking me a second time. I'll be fine. With that, Your Honor, we'll get going.
Hello, I'm Kara Hancock from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I'm super excited to talk to you tonight, even if it's over a video. But I get to tell you about Big Brothers Big Sisters, which makes me super happy. So I have a little PowerPoint, so give me just 3 seconds to share. So that you guys can see a little bit of what we're all about. Okay, so Big Brothers Big Sisters of Fremont. So first of all, we are grateful for the help and support from Fremont and particularly Riverton in the past. Thank you for helping us make a big difference. So our program, our goal is to empower potential today. So our kids have amazing potential, and it's our job, our goal to empower them and to see that potential and help them make a difference in where their life goes. So tonight we are requesting the amount of $3,000. And to kind of give you an idea of what we hope to accomplish with that and where we would put that, we currently have 27 active matches in Fremont County with 24 kids, additional kids, in the process of getting bigs. And so we have 18 bigs in the volunteer enrollment process. Wow, it makes me so happy. All right, but when we break that down and start thinking about what that means, it starts to get a little crazy because it costs about $1,000 to enroll, support, and match for an entire year. And so we have some work to do in order to make that happen. So again, we defend every child's incredible potential. So our mission is to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships. These mentorships or relationships ignite and empower the promise of youth. So our requested funds will be used to support direct services to Riverton school-aged youth that are seeking a mentor. So, you know, in the long and short of all of that, I have the funnest job in the whole world. I get to match bigs with littles. So I, going around the community, have the opportunity to visit and talk with all sorts of amazing volunteers. And I work daily with amazing, wonderful children. And what I do is I see what their qualities are going to benefit each other and help arrange that match and support them in anything that they might be struggling with. It's an amazing job. I love it. Okay, so our matches meet together once a week or several times a month. So site-based matches, they meet only at the schools, which got a little interesting this year with COVID. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then our community-based matches, they meet after school or on the weekend. So as the program director, it's my job to find a schedule that works for everyone. Because guess what? We're all busy, right? But it's amazing what just a little bit of time can do to make a huge difference. So, like I said, I go around the community a lot, and while any youth can receive services, Big Brothers Big Sisters collaborates with local schools, law enforcement, counselors, and other providers to make sure that we're reaching and able to serve at-risk youth. So, if I'm approached by a mother or a caregiver of a little, I don't have any restrictions as to who I can engage in the program. But a lot of times our littles are referred to us by counselors, amazingly by school teachers that have seen the benefits of our program, and we work closely with other providers to just make sure that we're an additional resource to at-risk youth. And I can definitely say our littles are soaring to new heights. So, in Big Brothers Big Sisters of Fremont, our kids have been real champions, but they are definitely feeling the effects of COVID and the resulting fallout. I'm sure in each of your different avenues and you've had and seen the effects of COVID, and it has been real. It has been very difficult for these kids, and they have pushed through it in some of the most amazing ways. A huge majority of my bigs and littles have been quarantined. Several of them have actually been sick with COVID. Some of them have lost family members to COVID. And these little kids are dealing with great big problems and need all the support they can. And the wonderful thing about Big Brothers Big Sisters is that even though the immediate threat of the pandemic is starting to abate, is starting to slow down, the effects of these kinds of trauma are not going anywhere. But Big Brothers Big Sisters, we are in a perfect position to help with these ongoing problems. So we work together with professional support teams, and you know, when a big sees that a little is struggling, they are in the perfect position to be like, okay, what additional supports do I need? Which is where it puts me in an amazing position to be like, I have resources that can help you. And so despite all the difficulties, some great, some small, some all just as important, those mentors have been a real level of stability to their littles and give them kind of an out for expressing some of their emotions. And even the whole family has been able to turn to Big Brothers Big Sisters for support throughout this past year. We've been able to give resources and provide additional resources and to give help whenever, you know, in whatever way they need help. And we hope to continue with this method of helping in the continuing years. So this has been an interesting year. Like I said, our mentors have really had to approach new and different methods of communicating with their littles. Sometimes we're able to visit face to face, and we've had fantastic activities where the kids and their bigs have been able to create things and to, yeah, look at that smile on his face, right? This is a benefit. This is the kind of match that we love to see, and this just makes us so happy. And we've also done a lot of really beneficial virtual activities, programs where we've been able to talk on Facebook Live or sending out packets, sending out activities to help with youth, helping them understand some of the difficulties and to realize that they're not alone. So one thing that we did this year that was particularly fun is, you know, I talk a lot with the littles, and one thing that we ask is, you know, have you been able to do any service projects? And the kids are like, no, there haven't been any service activities. And, you know, some of the schools aren't able to do as many of those service activity type things that they normally do due to COVID restrictions. And so based off of that, Big Brothers Big Sisters was able to work with Makerspace 307, and we were able to put together bouquets for the residents and the staff of hospice facilities. And although this was an incredible service project for the hospice, it was amazing to see how many people responded and just how beautiful it was to see the youth, the bigs, the littles, the community, the families, everybody associated and who had the opportunity were just flocking to help with these bouquets. We had a goal of 300 bouquets and we had 340. We just totally blew that project out of the water and helped with so many people. So when you ask kids, you know, have you had a chance to do a service project lately? Be ready, because they want to help and they want to be a part of something really big. And so I'm really grateful that Big Brothers Big Sisters was able to provide that for them this year. Not only giving them service, but the opportunity to themselves provide service. So I get to talk to a lot of moms, and it's amazing the relationship that I have and the way that they can confide in me and a lot of difficult stuff that's going on. Lot of hard stuff this year, but I felt like I would show some of the really amazing stuff too. So one of the moms was sharing with me, she says, I just came from my son's IEP meeting, individual education plan. And she said, I asked what they thought about my son's big brother, because, you know, the school said that her son had been really motivated by his big brother. Her son makes sure that his work is done so that he can visit with his big brother, and then waits at the office for him to come visit. So this is one of the few matches that are actually able to meet at the school. Other schools, the bigs have been continuing with, they Zoom, they send videos. I had a big who was part of the homecoming parade last year, and she knew that her little couldn't go. So she recorded herself and everybody in the parade and then sent it to him. This same big has been recording books that she has read to her little and sends them to him. So, oh my goodness, sending memes back and forth to each other. And even though it seems simple and small, those little moments of connection make a world of difference in a kid who's feeling isolated and confused by all of the stuff that's going on with COVID. So little solutions have made a big difference this last year. So another parent guardian says that the whole reason her little brother has not given up is because of a big brother. Even though the big brother has moved away, they still keep a good connection, and little brother's IEP was so good it brought his mom to tears. Little brother had been helping other youth that were struggling, and he had been standing up for others who had been picked on. So others that are struggling with ADHD, and he was also helping a young boy in a wheelchair. So this parent attributes all of these good things going on in his life right now to having had a big brother. And the wonderful thing about this is a big brother that is currently moved away. So this isn't even one of our regular matches. These are matches that for us have closed, but they have continued with these beautiful relationships. So even though this big brother has moved away, his little brother still sends him pictures and lets him know about him being on the wrestling team, is still making really amazing connections. And so it's hard to track how much good that we do, because even after our matches close and we're no longer following those directly, we keep in contact with those parents to see how everything's going. And they are still having these amazing relationships, even if it needs to be long distance or that direct face-to-face relationship has changed a little bit. So in Riverton, we are continuing to make new matches and programs that rely on community volunteers to serve as mentors. But like I said, however, due to low staff capacity, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Fremont is struggling to expand our services and providing services to additional families and communities. So kind of like I was saying, it takes $1,000 to support a match like this. This is a match from a girl at CWC. And even though CWC closed, she kept in really close contact with her little. And they've been able to stay really close as friends. So there are more and more matches like this that I want to be able to make this year. Huge supports for both our CWC students, our high school students, volunteers in the community are all reaching out and wanting to participate. But if I can't get the fundings, and then think of all these littles that are hurting, that would miss out on that opportunity as well. So Big Brothers Big Sisters of Fremont continues to grow, and our community has so many amazing volunteers. And I'm just asking for the opportunity to help match them, like I said, my favorite part of the job, and provide a support for them. So as I said before, thank you to the county for your continued support, for the city of Riverton for its continuing support, and for giving us the opportunity to share a little bit about Big Brothers Big Sisters. I understand that it's a video program, and so you might not be able to ask a lot of the questions that you normally would. So please feel free to contact us with any questions or concerns. And to always remember, as always, 100% of the local funds will be given to youth support of local services to local children. All of it stays in Riverton, every penny of it, and goes to supporting the youth in our community. So feel free, like I said, contact me, Kara Hancock. Here's my email, my phone number, and just feel comfortable calling me and asking me any questions. I would love to visit with you about Big Brothers Big Sisters and any questions or concerns you might have. So again, I am grateful for the time that I've been able to visit. I've gotten a little better at this whole computer thing, I hope, from lots and lots of practice this last year. I wish everyone the best and a healthy spring. So thank you for your time.
I apologize, we had a slightly shorter time limit on most of them. That applicant submitted a second one upon request, and I managed to have the wrong one loaded, so most of them will be a little shorter than that. They were set up to be, so I apologize for that, but good information. Mayor and Count, go ahead.
Does that have influence on where you're voting?
No. No. Is there any questions that council has at this point that you would like us to pose to Big Brothers Big Sisters?
I have none, thanks.
I just have one question. So the difference in the salary from last year of 22,000 up to the salary for the 38,000, is that for an additional person or?
Your Honor?
Yes,
Councilwoman, I don't know, but we will ask.
and I fell asleep. The questions that I have, I see where they're gonna merge with the state at the very end of their presentation of that, I believe, if I read that correctly, they're gonna try to merge with the state.
With whom?
The state of Wyoming, Big Brothers Big Sisters. On page 7. And they would merge with, the headquarters would be out of Laramie. And I just wanted to have some feedback on how that would affect Fremont County's organization. I don't imagine it would affect 100%. It goes on to say that 100% of the local funding would be used to support local services and local kids. But they are looking to merge with the Greater Wyoming Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
Thank you. We have those and we'll have them written down and answered.
And you know how I watch for government crawl. Here it is again.
We'll move on. Maybe.
Gallett's current chair for the Central Wyoming Arts, Technology, and Science Center here in Riverton. I'm sad that we can't be presenting to you guys as the city council. Also sad that we can't be giving you a tour of our facility. We're currently in our home, just doing the stay put, and we are going off of everything that the school board and of course the state is recommending as far as when we will be able to open the center back up. Of course, we will have it completely sanitized and do all of those things to make sure that everything is healthy and ready to go for our children. CATS, by short, it was started, I always put it off on when I remember the timeline. Annika, who's currently our filmer, was 18 months when I was approached to be on the board of directors and be one of the founding directors. She'll be 12 in 2 months, so it's been a long process. Our doors have been open for 6 years. Our anniversary is in September. We are able to host a lot of different events. We have a good relationship with our recreation as far as different art classes and science classes that they will do at the center. We have an amazing board of director team. We have a lot of previous teachers that are on our board of directors, and they help us with Bill Ryder is huge. He helps us out immensely with all of our exhibits. Nance Shelsta was a founding director, and she's always helped us out immensely with grants and everything else. And of course, Barb Yates she's our secretary, our treasurer, and she does a ton for us. So we're definitely privileged. Oh, and this is Kurt Gallitz. He's one of the board of directors too. I don't think I introduced him. I just started talking. Anyway, so we are applying for this grant. A lot of it is for funding expenses. Our goal was, when we started this, is to keep it relatively inexpensive for families. You know, when you have a family of 4 to go to the movies, it's, you know, $60, $70. So we were really trying to keep it affordable for families. With that being said, sometimes keeping things affordable as far as our expenses is our rent, our utilities, our paid staff doesn't always meet in the middle. So that's definitely why we're applying for this grant, so that we can, Fremont County children can keep coming and have it a little bit more cost effective. We have several different homeschool groups. They come in and use the facility. We have people from all over the state that come over and use the facility. Like I said, birthday parties are very, very popular. A couple different stations. We have so many stations. We really, like I said, it's the art, technology, and science is what we focus on. So we have a lot of different art stations. We have the dinosaur. We have the dinosaur exhibit for digging for dinosaurs.
Annika is mouthing that we have a pizza center where kids can
Oh,
eat pizza as
okay.
well.
I was like,
You're getting some help from our cameraman in there too.
So that's her favorite is the pizza center, to where they can make pizzas. We also have the veterinary clinic, which the Stock Doc donated a lot of money for that, to have they can do x-rays on all of the animals, and the I can never pronounce the favorite, the hermonograph.
Yes.
To make your own drawings. That's always been a huge favorite. The airplane, the flying airplane, that's always been fun. It's a little over my head. I crash all of the time. We have had the music room. The one that we have had since that happened is the solar eclipse room, and that's been very interesting. That was very much so focused on science when all of that was happening in our area, and we do still have that in there. We are getting ready to change out a couple of our exhibits. I believe that they're bringing back the bubbles. That is definitely a kid's favorite. It's definitely a little bit of a mess, but it's definitely a favorite.
And then to kind of highlight some of I think you're gonna get some of this information in our application. But currently we have 10 board members with cats to make, I guess, that all those fun exhibits run, maintain, and we currently have 89 family memberships, and last year we had over 3,520 individuals visit the Children's Museum, so that was pretty dang amazing for us. We do feel that the Children's Museum is a safe haven for kids where they can come and learn and grow socially and intellectually, which makes us feel like this is a pretty socially important aspect of our community. We do have a hefty budget for us being nonprofit of $52,000 a year, and the big thing that we do run into is maintaining a paid staff, and obviously that is becomes difficult when you're relying off of what we try to keep an affordable membership. It does sometimes become difficult to keep that paid staff. We're very fortunate that we've had several individual donors, several business donors, and we had over 800 hours of donated volunteer time as well. But having this grant would be absolutely, I think Tammy would agree, instrumental in keeping the Children's Museum active, keeping us growing, keeping us adding new exhibits, keeping it fresh, and also just keeping us going. So I guess I've been a part of the Children's Museum for 2 years. I couldn't be more thrilled to be a part of such a great organization, and I cannot thank you guys enough for taking time to consider us for this grant. I don't know if Tammy wants to round it out.
Yes, definitely. Thank you guys so much. We do. We are always constantly working on different fundraising ideas too. That has been, we have a fundraising committee that we've been kind of trying to focus a little bit more in on that. I know we were supposed to do the Daisy Dash here in a few weeks. I know that that's probably not going to, actually, no, that's not going to happen. We do the Polar Express, which that was a huge turnout, a huge shout out to Casey Bailey and Terry Bailey and
A lot of their crew.
Yeah, a lot of their crew.
helping.
They did so much to help us out on that this year. So that was a huge event. They had a real train. I'm not sure if you guys were able to attend that. Definitely a lot of different other ideas and things floating around there. We did the fall festival downtown. Just in kind of, we're really trying to brainstorm and have a good fundraiser every quarter, just to kind of help with those costs.
Obviously, our first quarter kind of got derailed with some social distancing plans. So another reason why this grant would be phenomenal for us as well during a time where everybody else is obviously struggling. So
Yes, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact either one of us and we'll be happy to answer anything for you guys. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time.
Any questions from council?
I'm good. You all right?
Well,
Christie has one.
I'm kind of confused with their budgeting from what their numbers are. They said they have 90 family memberships in their first page, but then their family memberships, if they did the $75 even instead of the $100 in their income, it's $3,500. So that'd be 46 family memberships. And then the general admission, they just said there was 5,000, and that again doesn't. I mean, I'm just confused on their
Your Honor.
income stuff on that. What's
I
that
can
about?
address that issue. The information that is included in your packet is the accurate information. This video is their prior year video, and they asked me to replay this video.
Oh, okay.
So rely on the numbers that are in your packet for their
Okay.
funding.
Okay, I was confused with that. Okay.
They did send a whole list of, when you get to the end of their donations by year. It's down here a ways. I didn't quite understand it when I first saw it. And maybe I'm confusing it. But I think the thing that I saw was a $13,000 salary level, and Mia always wonders what I think I'm doing. I always keep track of the utility billing. And so I think there's, this is a brick and mortar establishment, and it does return $1,250 in water services and sewer services, and so that does make a difference in my thought. So I don't see that. It must have been on a different one, Christie. I maybe have them mixed up, but yeah, that's a good catch on your part. Any other questions? I think we're okay.
All right, we'll move on.
Hello, Matt Wright here, CWSA. We are out here having some fun. Just turned the lights on for the very first time in 3 months, and we're celebrating. This is great. I consider it a milestone that the City Council voted last year to allocate $500 to the light bill for the year. And so that payment just went through, and we're out here celebrating. So we're requesting the same thing as we did last year, and I'll try to work closer with Mia and Tony and Kyle and everyone there who's been grateful to listen, helpful listening to us and working with us, and we'll just keep spreading positivity. It sounds like the police don't have an issue with this. I've heard a lot of good things about having lights here, and we'll get them on a timer and try again this year. Thanks.
And that is the shortest video that we have.
Your Honor, we do not have a problem with them at all. They are fantastic.
Yeah, that is a good thing, isn't it? It really does. I love watching it. I could park and watch it. So maybe because he was so short, we might give him more money.
Are there any questions of council?
I'm good.
Okay. We'll move on. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Widmer, and I'm the director of Eagles Hope Transitions. Eagles Hope Transitions has had a lot of transitions in and of itself. We are a transitional living facility for individuals that want to make a change and be that positive change in their life. Our mission is to provide sober, zero-tolerance drug and alcohol living facility and provide job readiness, life skills, and financial classes to be able to give the individual the skills that they need to be able to reintegrate back into the community and with their families. But since we became Eagles Hope Transitions, we have accepted the assets of the Fremont County Good Samaritan Center, which was the homeless shelter. So now we are Eagles Hope Transitions and Emergency Housing. Since August 20th of 2020, we have served 62 individuals. This is individuals and families together. 42% of them have been successful transitions and have transitioned up to Eagles Hope Transitions, which is the next phase. So when our guest comes in, they have a stack of paperwork that they need to fill out. And then we also do a health screen since we are still in the times of COVID. So every time someone comes in or out, they are temperature checked. Then they are given a bedroll, a new set of clothing, so top, pants, underwear, socks, and a towel. And then they get a hygiene kit. Since last year, we have survived COVID-19 and the pandemic, and we opened the emergency shelter, which was a challenge in and of itself. But with the Riverton City Council and all of our community members, we have survived one of the toughest seasons that we have been through, and we just ask for your continued support as we endure another year and continue to serve Riverton and the community that we love.
Second shortest video.
Extra money for them too.
And they're here if there are any questions. Michelle.
This is the one that I thought I was referring to, and it showed all the donations by month. So I thought that was quite informative. So
This isn't really the budget. So this is the first year that you guys have taken over the old homeless shelter? So so what did you guys do, remodel it or what?
We did the repairs that needed to be done in order to open, in order to be up to code with the city. So right now, the modular is the only one that we can use. We call it the vintage house. It's a 2-story house. It's not livable. So we just utilize the modular right now.
I noticed that you had some units that were not in service. They were in need of repair.
Yes.
I think there was 2 of them.
We have 4 altogether. 2 need completely redone. They're just bare bones. The other, they need flooring, electricity, and plumbing.
You were kind enough to just take in one of our employees, and I mentioned to him that maybe he could talk to you and help you do those renovations, and we would back him up with some things he needed. So
Thank you.
appreciate what you do.
Thank you very much.
If there's nothing else, we'll move on.
Lindsay, are you watching the game? Yep, we're ready.
Okay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the City
Thank you.
Council in Riverton, Wyoming. This is Noel Cooper with Injury Prevention Resources. We are excited and honored that you would entertain our request for services funding for fiscal year 2021 and 2022. Just to give you a little background about IPR, we are a 501c3 nonprofit located at 303 North Broadway in Riverton. And our main goal is to save lives on roads, and we are able to do that through a litany of programs. But the main potential that we have is to educate and also redirect people regarding seatbelt use, distracted driving, impaired driving, and child car seats. We do a little bit into the pedestrian end of things with helmets and a couple other things like that, such as Safe Kids Days. But our main goal are those 4 items that I mentioned. We know that if we can educate and redirect people regarding those things, we can save a lot of lives on roads. We have been a 501c3 since the year 2000, and we are primarily funded through Wyoming Department of Transportation via federal NHTSA highway traffic safety grants. And very, very happy to be located here in Riverton. We know that Fremont County is our main focused area. Matter of fact, many years, kind of off and on, we are the deadliest roads per capita in the United States. And so our need to be here is very prevalent, unfortunately. So the ways that we're able to attack the issue, if you will, are pretty unique. And we enjoy doing them, but we have been back to in-person events since October, and we are grateful to have some community partners. Specifically, Sutherland's in Riverton has let us come in and speak with the general public on numerous occasions, and that part has been really fantastic. We're typically in schools. And so being able to cover and reach out to, some older population age-wise has been great. We have a DUI problem and a problem with not wearing seatbelts here in Riverton and in Fremont County that spans all ages. And the roads are very unforgiving. They don't care about age, race, gender, creed, religion. Anybody can die on the roads at any time. And so that's why we're here, is to remind people that you never know when it's going to happen. And it's very imperative that we are prepared for it. I think we say quite a bit that if you wouldn't ride a carnival ride without being strapped in, why would you ever go down the road in a vehicle without a seatbelt? And so we know that we have some unique ways of doing it, but specifically for programs that we are going to be executing to continue out through 2021. Part of the carryover we had from the COVID-19 pandemic was virtual traffic safety sessions. We are releasing one video a month roughly, sometimes a little more frequent, sometimes a little less, depending on the filming and the progress of editing. But we've been able to find local community partners and people that are willing to speak out against impaired driving here in our community. And we were very excited to do that, and also educate people on what happens on the roads. What does that rollover look like when you are buckled, and what does it look like when you're unbuckled? And through demonstration units, we're really able to not only show people, but let people feel what it's like to be in a crash. And so we are going to continue doing that as often as we can. Undoubtedly, we will continue to have child car seat inspections. With some distribution, we certainly know that part of the funding we are requesting from the city is for child car seats for low-income families. And so our goal is to continue doing that. Specifically to Riverton, we do the adult alcohol education course quarterly now. It is court-ordered offenders that come to the event. However, the event is open to the public. And so we really want to work on trying to get some more teens and some more people that are just starting to drive to come and attend the course, so that they can see specifically the dangers that are out there and the incredibly sad and heavy, horrific stories of people who have lost a loved one to a DUI crash. We are also going to continue doing our DUI monitoring program. Not only remote breathalyzer units, but alcohol monitoring bracelets, GPS bracelets, sweat patches that can tell if there's drugs in the system, and also mouth swabs that can tell drugs and alcohol usage. We have partnered with the city of Riverton to continue using GPS bracelets for those that are ordered through the Riverton Municipal Court to stay out of public areas, especially when intoxicated. And we just look forward to being a help and part of that effort to make our parks usable and not fear-based of having impaired people that are unpredictable around you. And so we want to continue partnering with Riverton for that, and we are just going to keep plugging along. Again, we're happy it's getting warm out. We can get out there and do more events out in the public, and our main goal of educating people regarding seatbelts and impaired driving and distracted driving and child car seats will just continue to be a constant. And so we really appreciate the council for entertaining our funding request, and just know that this little slice of what we asked for from the city of Riverton really is just helpful for the things that the grants won't cover. And we will continue to run media here through Riverton and via Facebook. We really believe that our benefit to the city, because we are housed in Riverton, is quite high. And we're honored about the work we do, and we are grateful to the city for entertaining our funding requests. My email is noelcooper, NOELCOOPER, @wyoming.com. And my cell phone number is work cell phone, 307-851-4070. And you can call me any questions or email me. We're, again, just grateful. to be part of our community and do our part here in Riverton. Thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful month and a good day and a good week. Thanks for entertaining our funding request. Have a great one.
Questions of council? Hearing none, we'll move on.
I'm slow.
Sorry.
I think the chief feels the same way. I really do appreciate the ankle monitor help that they give us. And maybe this would be a good spot to see what we can help them with. They do provide that, and we use them more than you think. They provide an ankle monitor and they monitor the ankle monitor for us. And so it's been quite helpful at times. I don't know what that cost them, but I think it's above what we've given them. So, Mia, do you have?
Your Honor, I'm looking at what we've paid them for court-ordered ankle monitors since November of 19. It's been approximately $3,000.
So they've been charging us for that service. Okay. I was under the impression that it did not cost, but it is at a cost to us.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for correcting me. So maybe they're getting compensation. Okay. Any other questions?
We'll move on.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Melinda K. Cox, and I'm the Executive Director of Youth Services of Fremont County. The partnership with the City of Riverton and Youth Services has dated back to 1994. We are grateful for your continued fiscal support as well as the support of our services. Just our summary in a nutshell, I've attached data, up-to-date data that you can look at and review. If you have any questions about that, certainly feel free to reach out and I can answer any of your questions. We have some new things happening here. We have some new funding requests. We've reached out to OJJDP, which is the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention, the Bureau of Justice Affairs, the Lander Community Foundation. We are requesting an increase in funding from both the City of Riverton and the City of Lander. And the reason for these requests is that we have been cut by the state about 25% of our overall budget. And as you look at our chart of accounts, you'll see what our overall budget is. And so when we get a reduction in that revenue stream, it does affect us negatively. And so we seek out any revenue that we possibly can, and we will continue to do so. We provide supervision for juveniles who have been cited through the Riverton Police Department. We do intakes, we make recommendations to the county attorneys. We provide juvenile treatment court. We provide a day reporting center. We do urine screens. We partner with the Injury Prevention Resources and provide ankle monitoring as well as alternative drug screening, which includes a patch. We're doing everything we can and reaching out as much as we can. This last year, the juvenile justice system has negatively been affected. Services closed down, detention centers were no longer available or taking juveniles. We haven't seen a decrease in crime. So as you look at that data and you review that data, you will see all of the work that is going in and the continued work that we provide, as well as additional trainings, partnering with CWC and the University of Wyoming, and capitalizing on all of our resources and making our services as efficient for the City of Riverton as possible. Again, I'd like to thank you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or my staff, which includes Hattie Calvert out of the Riverton office, Brittany Keel, Mackenzie Farrar, Stacy Strasser, Travis and Caitlin Slagowski, and Fika Van Dyke, all directly in the Riverton office. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to our continued conversation.
That is the third shortest. So,
Do I need to disclose that her daughter and my nephew are just got engaged?
Okay, you have to get off the dais.
Only if they're wearing ankle bracelets.
This is an organization that we ought to get more mileage out of, because we really do. And I've had conversation about juvenile problems, and they're tough, aren't they, Chief?
Yes, sir, they most certainly are.
It's like walking through a landmine. And so their funding has gone, we funded 17,000 last year and they're asking for 25. Might be a good place to consider spending our money, because we need help there.
Your Honor, I would agree with that, 1,000%.
And
I've actually been to their day reporting school and see some of the things they've done, and they go pick the kids up from wherever they are in the county, and they do a lot of work. They care a lot about their kids.
Mia, their general funding is more state funding, but it's county funding. Do you have a finger on that?
Your Honor, if you can give me a moment.
495,000, we're certainly not their best partner. Am I reading that correctly?
I'm looking for the page. Bureau of Justice Assistance is 400,000. Drug-free communities is 125,000. They actually received 30,000 from the Lander Community Foundation as well, and then equal parts Riverton and Lander is what they're requesting at 25.
Yeah, so you guys will have to move. I'm close enough that I can write in Mike's column, but I can't get to the rest of you, so. But this might be it would be wise to spend some money with them. Because I called Tony just yesterday and asked for some graffiti to be removed off the highway between the ranger and the post office. One nice thing I can report is that the spelling was correct. But Tony did get that taken care of for us, and so we do have a juvenile problem, I do believe. So.
Does Fremont County contribute any to them? I don't see it on their request here.
Yeah. City Lander, City of Riverton, I only see 6 contributors, is that correct?
Your Honor, yes, and we would be happy to reach out to them and see what they do receive from Fremont County with regards to their organization. We'll put that as a follow-up on the list.
And I was wondering if they have some state funding, is there?
It looks like the majority of what they're requesting here is federal funding and then just local assistance.
Because the total is almost 500,000, and those don't add up, I don't think. Where's Mayor Highsmith when you need him?
They do. If you see the bottom one, they applied for, then it does.
So we might want to get a little bit further information, but I think that we have the problem sufficient that we could be a better contributor. Any other questions?
All right.
Back to you, Tony.
Good afternoon, Mayor Guard and Riverton City Council members. I'm Gina Gladman with Pause for Life, and we just wanted to do a short video outlining some of things that happened in 2020. Our community stepped up in a big way. I'd had people stop me, at Walmart, or just say, "Hey, you're with the animal shelter, let me give you some money," or they'd stop me and pay for purchases and things like that. And so we were very appreciative of all our community did to help us. And when COVID struck in March, of course, we closed down. We went to appointment only, just to be in compliance with the CDC and everything. We started going by appointment, one family every 30 minutes. So we were still open, but that just allowed us, and we have enjoyed that because it's given us more one-on-one time with families that want to adopt, and we can focus our attention on them. And so we're still open, just by appointment. As you know, Becky Weber retired last year, so there was a lull there between animal control officers. So before Shannon Sanderson started in June. So we did our best to help with that. I know the police officers were busy too, so we opened into taking strays that were found in Riverton. We just have them call and bring them to us. And then just some different things. We had to go to online fundraisers for Paws and Pearls, as we weren't able to hold our annual fundraisers and things like that. So we went online to do some fundraisers. The 7th grade, they call it the CIA English Language Arts class. We had some girls get together during the Friday night cruise. They sold bandanas and raised almost $1,500 for the shelter. And then kids stood out there with their projects. They'd raise money to get supplies, or they bought supplies, or they set up little destination points where people could drop off donations. We had a lot of people step up, and we actually have all of our kennels are sponsored. Our dog kennel sponsorships are full. Our cat kennel sponsorships are full. So they've just been tremendous in helping us. And we just want to say thank you to our Riverton City Council for everything that you guys do for us. We don't take it for granted that our shelter is here. We're able to help the smaller communities around Fremont County as well, because they don't have anything set up. So we've been working with all the different towns here in Fremont County. One thing, we've had 2 abuse cases. In October, we took an abuse case from Lander because they didn't have a facility big enough to house them. So we got 16 dogs that we've been holding since October, and then we had one from here in Riverton, and so that are finally going to be hopefully wrapped up the end of this month, the 1st of April. So just staying full, transferring out as fast as we can. Our length of stay is down on our critters because we've been able to transfer out so much to different communities, different shelters, different rescues and things like that. So, but like I said, I sure want to thank you for having all the ordinances in place as we're dealing with different communities in Fremont County that don't have a rabies ordinance or don't have an ordinance for cats. And so it's just made it difficult in their communities. And so I'm just thankful for everything that we've accomplished together. Thank you.
Questions of council? Okay.
For new council members, if we didn't have PAWS, the burden of animal problems would come slowly back into our police budget, and it would cost us a lot more than what it does currently. And so we're really fortunate to have and those of us that have been here for a while, we used to be a kill station, and we are not now. If you watch their numbers, fabulous placements. I think I read here that just one animal died in custody. Fremont County Jail would be so lucky. And so here we are. I think it's a really good spend for our money, so that helps us out a bunch. Anybody else got any thoughts? Okay.
Hello, Riverton City Council. I want to thank you so much for the ongoing support that you guys have given our program. Our recreation program has flourished, and we are really grateful. Thank you for your continued support of the vision of service for our community and enriching the lives of all of our residents by impacting their quality of life and just being a great positive part of what everybody looks forward to in our community. So I'm going to share here with you guys our presentation, and we'll move through this quickly. So I always start with the mission statement because everything our recreation does, this is at the core of it. Our recreation mission is to strengthen our community and enrich the lives of all Riverton residents and people in our county by providing affordable and diverse recreational, physical, and cultural opportunities with a focus on the families, youth development, and building healthy communities. Our recreation is one of the most well-known social and economic pieces in Riverton. We connect the people in our community and really in our county with each other, and we serve everyone in our community. So our goal is to have a positive impact on every family and every person in our community. So what did 2020 look like? Despite the national pandemic that was so strange to us, we were able to accomplish our Playmaker basketball and implement the first adult co-ed basketball league. And you guys know how scary it is to get into the realm of adult basketball. We had pickleball and volleyball, and then with the closing of the facilities, which I'll talk more about in a minute, but with the school district and CWC closing their facilities, we had to think outside the box a little bit and partner with several different places in our community to get those programs offered. So partnered with Teton Athletic Club, had several programs there, and Progressive Taekwondo, and then also our JFL to be able to offer some of our football camps. And then here's a shameless plug. I always have to say this because I love it. CWC Marketing always tells me that our website, ourrecreation.com, is their most frequented link on the CWC website. So I appreciate that, and I think they love that people are getting to us through their website. Facilities were closed in 2020, so what did we do? Still at the core of our mission, as I mentioned, is serving our community. And so we had to shift a little bit. We weren't serving so much through programming as now we were through involvement. And so during 2020, I served as the chair of the Community Engagement Committee, and we, in partnership with them, planned the Rendezvous Winter and Summer Games, the annual tree lighting, and the end of school year fireworks event. Early in the pandemic, I hosted some Support Your Neighbor Through COVID Zoom chats, trying to bring people together in their isolation, let them know they weren't alone through this unprecedented time. Coordinated and hosted youth games at the Happy Days event, the All Clash Reunion, and the Trunk or Treat Spectacular event. Coordinated a community watch program that had come forward from a group of people that were concerned for their neighborhood. So if anybody ever comes to the city council, again, we have that framework and that base ready to go to anybody else who wants to implement a community watch program. served at the beef roundup, the Moon Rally, represented, now going on a national level, we were able to represent the state of Wyoming at a National Youth Sports Strategy Seminar, which was really cool because we were the only representative from the state of Wyoming, so we were able to host a breakout session, and that was really neat, talking about how recreation can work during a pandemic in rural America. We also participated in a 4-day National Youth Sports Conference that was focused around making the conversation that youth activities are essential services. Assisted CWC invested back a little bit with them for their protocols and health check stations, and then also working on the Edge Committee. But what I don't have on here that has been an awesome project that is finally coming to fruition is working with the Boys and Girls Club to reach kids and in a way that our recreation just doesn't have the capacity to do. So that is, we have an anticipated opening date of the first day of school in the fall. So super excited to see that project come to fruition. Background really quick on the funding history of our recreation. In 2006, the city of Riverton funded their recreation department. So they tried to have their complete Parks and Recreation department, and had a budget line item of $300,000. In 2008, so 2 years later, our recreation was created. It was a contract between CWC and the city at $145,000. Then we took a 15% cut in 2016, a additional 10% cut in 2018, and then in 2019, we were super gracious to have that funding restored to $135,000. And we are requesting the same amount that we received in 2020, which is $125,000. So hopefully that'll give you you'll see where we came from to where we are now. The residents in Riverton, the families that we interact with, always express how grateful they are. And I always encourage them to reach out to their council representatives to let them know, because I know the loudest people are the ones that are unhappy. And everybody in Riverton is so grateful for these services and for your continued funding of the RREC program. And I hope that you guys get to hear that from your constituents. So thank you so much. Some things to keep in mind. Our recreation is one of the few requesters that does not have an additional governing agency or additional financial support. You, the city of Riverton, is our governing agency, and more specifically the city council, and you're our sole funder. Our recreation was created for you, for the city of Riverton to have recreation as part of their vision and mission. And it's been a privilege, an absolute privilege, to get to serve this community and represent the city of Riverton in this capacity. I put this on here because you have it mentioned on the application. The partnerships we have formed so many partnerships, you can see, and I couldn't even list them all here. This is what I could fit on this screen. They are the key to the success, not only of our programs, but of our community and of the mission that our recreation has. The partnerships are key to reaching that. They enrich our programs and we enrich theirs. It's been just wonderful to be that liaison. So 2021 and beyond, where do we go from here? We are always open to what the community members want to see. How can we take that next step for Riverton? And I keep in the back of my mind, was fortunate to work on part of the Riverton Master Plan, and we want to be able to translate those community values that were in that master plan and the vision for a more desirable and more viable community. What are the goals? What is the city council's goals, and how can we help you guys accomplish that? We want to reach every family in our community and have a positive impact on the quality of life. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity to run this program. It is such a privilege to serve our city and work for you guys. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. I am always happy to hear from you guys and answer any questions you have. Thank you guys. Thanks for your consideration, and thank you for the service that you do to our community.
Any questions? We're good.
Okay.
This group is a new group and it hasn't been funded in the past, and they're asking for $7,500. They are a throwback to the railroaders, and I think they push a lot of things forward, and I think it'd be a good place to spend the money. So that's the only comments I have. Anybody have any?
With them all being volunteers, and it seems like a lot of the same people do a lot of the same work, and I think supporting them so they don't get burned out is a good idea.
Yeah, they have zero they have zero salary levels.
Their overhead is
Zero.
Yeah. So it's all volunteers. Basically, they're the ones that brought the Friday night cruise and the Happy Days and all of that. When we weren't, when everything else was getting canceled, they were coming up with events to do things. So I think it's a great, great group.
No problem funding them.
Yep. So.
I think that's a pretty universal statement.
Yep. So.
We good? Go.
Moving on. Councilwoman Cox, I believe this is the lady.
Any questions? Once again, this project wasn't funded last time, and I think it's a good fund. Everyone knows where I stand on this, so. Any other comments?
I just think Little League does a great job of having some good summer activities for the kids, and lots of kids involved, and so it's a good program.
Well, you know, for programs, that is, take them all. And they play and everybody gets playtime, and it's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's volunteers again.
True volunteers, surely is.
I mean, what do they pay referees? Travel pay for their gasoline is about it, wear and tear on the clothes.
I don't, do they pay your umpires?
We did pay them well, not last season, but the season before. If they umped 4 games, it was $100.
I mean, token.
And they won't let me ump down there, so, but there's, you know, everybody there is volunteer, so we really do appreciate the efforts that are put in, and I think it's a good fund, so.
Okay. This is our last one, Your Honor.
Were you thinking I can't count? I'm up to 11.
Mostly an announcement for the room.
This is another good funding, and it seems like we funded them pretty good. There's a lot of red paint there.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, and other communities are paid.
Yep.
In Utah, they're all paid. They work 4 on, 3 off, 3 on, 4 off. And they're a heck of a group.
That was a bad day.
Oh, terrible day. They were there when I tipped over an acid tank on Gozen Lodge Road.
Scary.
Must have been Saturday's ditch fire that I could see from ever.
Thanks, Tony. Anybody have any questions? This is an interesting, and I think Mia can help. I had to get an education, and it's in the paperwork. We contribute to their retirement fund, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Historically, we paid a specific dollar amount towards our retirement fund, and last year, the council approved for us to pay 100% of the amount that's going to the volunteer fire department for active members.
Which was how much?
$6,000.
$6,000. And they're asking for $3,500. And they put that in a kind of a different spot. They use it for a mutual aid account and then a benevolent fund. And so
Your Honor, I believe that they're asking for $5,000 this year, according to their application and their follow-up letter.
You're correct. We gave them 35 last year.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm.
And so I've been in that conversation with them, and they use that if somebody needs, if one family member has cancer problem, and they help pay gas and money to get them to and from those situations. So the real benefit is the fact that we pay the full amount on the retirement. Because if you don't get paid to be on the Riverton Fire Department, but if you put in 20 years or 30 years, you do get a small stipend retirement through the state of Wyoming. Am I correct at that?
Your Honor, I would actually defer to Kristen Watson on the answer to that, as she handles the retirement benefits for the fire department.
I don't know what the fireman pension is, but yes, it is a pension paid through the state of Wyoming.
And do they have to get a full 20 years, or do you have any?
It's with Wyoming Retirement System, and we're required with our 2 plans to be to work for 4 years in order to be vested in the plan. I'm not sure what the fireman pension is, if it's the same. I'm assuming it would be, but I'd have to check on that for you. And we budgeted to pay the full amount, and then they increased the retirement rate, and so we pay $14 a month per active member. And they raised it last year to, I believe it's $17.25 per member.
I have been contacted by community members wanting to know why we couldn't do something for the firemen, like pay their water bill, those utilities. And Mia explained that to me last year, that wasn't the way that could work. And so this is why we bumped that up to pay the full amount of the retirement. So another one that we really should fund, in my opinion. Every time I hear the fire whistle go off at 1 in the morning, I'm glad someone's going.
Well, if you've ever had something burned down, you're happy to see them.
Mm-hmm.
I can attest to that.
Me too.
So I think we've seen all of the presentations.
Yes, Your Honor.
Would it be presumptuous of me to put forth an opportunity that I think we're $35,285 higher in asks than we funded last year?
Right.
And so and don't ever jump in, anybody that's got information. We didn't fund the Big Brothers Big Sisters last year. We didn't fund the CATS organization. We didn't fund the ambassadors, and we didn't fund Little League. So we could be Scotch, and we could go back and screw this down to at least where we were. But I would put the proposal forward. We have done really well on sales tax and use tax. We've been fiscal with our money. We've sold some land. I understand that land ended up in the airport funds. Is that correct? And it probably needs to stay there. But we can move monies there. And so I would suggest, it would be my suggestion, that we fully fund these, that we don't have to wait and deliberate. I don't see anybody that doesn't need the funding that is suggested. And we task staff with the fact of going and finding that $35,200 in addition. And
Your Honor,
Mhm.
tonight isn't an action, it's not an action item.
I realize we're not voting.
Okay, sorry.
I was trying to save us another meeting if we're in consensus. We don't have Carla here, and so I'm sure she would like to be in on this. But my suggestion is that we fully fund these asks, and we try to see if we can find the $35,000. In perspective of that, that's half of a cop car.
Your Honor, I would be more than happy to give up the half a cop car to fund these to be honest.
And I think
half is the question?
the back half,
The back half.
the back half,
With the tires or
the trunk part. I don't know that that's a great idea, but I just think from what I've seen, and unless there's, you know, speak up if you don't agree, I just think we ought to go, we've cut this back, and you can see that if you go back to the top page. We've reduced this over the years. Come on, iPad, help me.
346 down to
Yeah.
276, yeah.
And we've done that because we have been fiscal and we've been worried about where the money's coming from. We're $650,000 to the benefit in sales tax and use tax. And I just think that it may be a moment here. It's not a lot of money, but it might be a moment to fully fund these organizations. The ambassadors are brand new, and you could say you get zero money and they would still go on. They wouldn't stop. They'd do what they're doing. But I think if you fund them $7,500, they're gonna really, you're gonna get all that out of them and more. And Little League Baseball more than pulls its weight of what they're asking for on just one tournament. It just the impact of bringing kids to town.
Your Honor, we're hosting state this year as well, so that's.
And so, and that's my concern. I'd like to make that look as professional as we can. Pause is the only one that's asking for an increase, and they're only asking for $5,000 more. And that's an organization that would cost us dearly if we had to run that ourselves. And we'd have to staff it with a police officer position. And so, you know, I just think this is a no-brainer.
Staff, yeah.
Your
Honor, I have a question. Normally, I think some of this comes from that 105 distribution, correct? Did that stay intact? Do we have any information on that?
It did stay intact, because they couldn't get along. The House and the Senate couldn't come to an agreement. Tony is of the impression that in the next biennium we'll take a hit, but let's take,
now, we're okay.
let's take the hit and see where we go. We can always reduce services. We've done that in the past, and so that's just my suggestion. If anybody thinks it's a bad idea, we could meet again and turn in our amounts. I just think that the total isn't above much of the ask, and all of them are legitimate, in my opinion.
Your Honor, when I was going through all the applications, I couldn't find one that I wouldn't fund. And I was thinking, how are we going to cut some of these to make it what it was last year? But maybe with the juvenile problem, we can have them go walk the dogs at the paws. Have that be part of the deal.
Not a bad suggestion.
My kids used to do it, and I ended up with 2 dogs, so.
Yeah.
But they did, it's good for kids.
Dangerous.
It's,
Yeah. Put the kids in the cage and let the dogs out.
We don't have a place to lock up juveniles. That's not a bad suggestion, is it, Chief?
No.
We could put them in one of those
Put them in
cages.
here and let them walk dogs. Yeah.
And so I think it would save us a step, and if you think you can find the money, let's go. If you can't, then bring it back to us.
Okay.
And if you can't, then we'll tell everybody in the whole town that you were the cheapskates.
Your Honor, we put this as part of our overall budget conversations. One of the challenges that we have when we do this and we make a funding recommendation is that funding recommendation is usually in light of the other budget items that we have in front of us. At this point in the game, to be truthful to you, we're just now getting started into budget.
We're first, right?
You're in the top 3.
So you know, do your magic and tell us what we can and can't do. And I don't know that we got to come back in another meeting. Maybe Carla would like to have a shot at it, but I just don't really see. And we can do it. We've cut rec. We've cut before, and we could easily, to be real truthful, I can hit the $35,000 reduction and still get most everything everybody wants. But
I mean, 10% more than what we did last year.
Yeah.
basically.
And so my question is why? We did really well on our sales tax, and we did that purposely, and we should get some kudos for that. I doubt we will, but I think we've been good stewards of the city's money, and this is one place that the money goes directly back to city services.
Your Honor, I'd also add that these people are doing a lot of the work that we would rather not be doing.
Yeah,
So,
Well, we can't do it as cheap as they can do it.
most definitely.
More effective way of doing it.
I mean, the dollars work harder with volunteers than they do with paid. They just do.
Well, for $35,000, it's not even a position. And so, that's my recommendation, and I think staff can, if we can't afford it, staff can bring it back to us. Okay? Everybody in agreement? I don't think we need a vote, but you got our opinions, so. Is there any other business that we need to take care of?
No, Your Honor, I don't believe so.
Staff, any other staff questions, problems? Council got anything they want to ask? Kyle, you want anything special?
I'm just pleased because I feel that this is where the money should be going. I mean, just, the youth needs it, you know, and this is where it's at, and I think I think we need support from mayor. Thank you.
Anyone else? Lindsay?
I agree.
Mike?
I'm good.
Mike's up. Thank you. If there's no objections, we,
I have one item before we leave.
okay,
As you're all aware, that we're going to be doing a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Clubs that we're doing on the 27th. We're doing a breakfast in the morning, and my restaurant is cooking the breakfast. And I just had a harebrained idea, and I thought I'd throw it out here. I thought it would be interesting if the city council would come and help serve breakfast to the community.
Is it at the Gear Cafe?
It's at the Fremont Center Heritage, or forget which.
fairgrounds,
What day is
the
that?
fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds, 27th at 6:30 in the morning.
It opens at 6:15, and they're gonna serve at 6:30, and then the program starts at 7.
Yeah, and it's a presentation recognizing Mary Margaret Stockton for all that she's done in the community over the years. And then they have Dave DeVecchi, who's a baseball player, gonna come and talk. And then they're going to do fundraising type event. But I thought it might be a way for us to have our presence known and help serve the community. And if that isn't palatable, maybe the city council could do a table or something along that line.
April what again?
27th.
That's a Tuesday.
That is a Tuesday morning, early morning Tuesday.
How would you need us there?
What is the hours?
At 6,
Starts at 6:15 in the morning is when you can,
To six to what?
to 7 is,
probably
that's where breakfast
8:30
is
or
served.
so, probably to 8:30 or 9, I would imagine at the latest.
And then there's a program from 7 to 8. And they're doing that, they're doing that so people can get back to work.
Get to work,
So,
so.
and I would, we got great staff. I don't, even to the staff, unless.
Where is
we'll-
that on our
we'll-
webpage?
7 of us work, 6 of us work. Is that enough?
Oh, I
help?
think whatever we could put together would be helpful. I just thought, it's gonna be, buffet style, so I mean, there's not gonna be a ton of labor involved. And no cooking, we'll handle the cooking, but I thought it'd be just neat if we had the city council, or city staff, helping to serve and get things, pick up plates and do whatever, so. It's all throwaway stuff, so it's no dishes to do,
I'm 100% in. I will be there.
so.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I have another training at 8, but I could come for a while.
We can kick you out early if we need to, yeah.
Any other things that we need to discuss? Seeing none, if no one's opposed, chair adjourns at 8:47.